Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. This has been a bit of a while coming. I haven't really made a video in a while, like I think 2-3 days. I pretty much skipped over the Olympiad, rounds 3, 4, and 5. And in this video, we're just going to be analyzing Team Pakistan's performances. We'll be looking at a few games from round 6. And I'll just be telling you the overall thoughts I've had from the tournament so far and what I think Pakistan can do moving forward. So without any further ado, let's get into it. And so far, Pakistan's tournament has been like the biggest roller coaster I can ever explain. The whole team has kind of just done a whole bunch of. I can't even say, to be honest. So when we look at the number 4, our fourth board, Mudassir Iqbal, he has played about as well as I would have expected from someone like him. He lost to Grigor in his first round, which I analyzed. He beat Alqua Turki, and then in round 3 and round 4 and round 5, which I didn't analyze, but I'll simply check the results. He lost to, we played Kyrgyzstan in round 3, and we simply lost every game. I'm not even going to try to sit here and pretend like the games were good from Mudassir. Like, to be honest, whenever Mudassir plays like a player that's like 2200, 2300, there's just no chance. Like, he just gets steamrolled. He then played a guy from, I think it's Guatemala, but I could be entirely wrong. He won that game, which was really important. I was really happy him winning that game. That was 100% required. And then he played against Rory Daniel, which is one of the strongest players from the South African side. And to be fair, like he was always going to lose that game. He just got a very unlucky pairing. So him losing that game is completely fine. And today he plays Stuart Terry, which he just got destroyed. Like Stuart Terry just got it's not really even worth analyzing that game. Like it was just a simple blunder, and Stuart Terry lost all his pieces and resigned shortly after. I mean, the game was essentially a whitewash from start to finish, and Mudassir Iqbal ended up winning this game. So as of right now, he's currently 3 out of 6, which is like what you'd expect from him. I'm not going to say it's some brilliant performance, but he he did kind of perform fine as far as I'm concerned. He just performed fine for me. He did really nothing else. And then we move on to Momin. And Momin's had a pretty up and down tournament, but yeah, last few rounds have been a bit questionable to say the least. He lost to this Yem, which we analyzed. He beat that Qatari, which we also analyzed. And in his battle with Kyrgyzstan, he ended up essentially losing, which you can't really complain. There was nothing he could have done. But in my opinion, in that game, he played fine. I don't think he played that badly at all. So I can't really give him too much slack for that. Then against, I think, Guatemala, I could be entirely wrong for round 4. I don't really even know who he played against. But he won. And then in round 5, something strange happened. I can't even really explain this in a way I can understand. So I'll even analyze the game like here, like just to show you, because it's that absurd. Let's just go Fortuna Bishop B5. I'm just gonna analyze this game like right here. Bishop D4, Bishop C6, and I think like around here he was holding. Like, yeah, the position is mildly unpleasant, but here he played like this. Is my opinion should be at a draw. Like with the way they were playing, if Black tries really hard and wins, then like I guess, but I was still like, okay, White has some chances to draw. Here, Momin played a move in like literally 20 seconds. He played Bishop E8, and I guess his logic was he was targeting, this pawn over here. But playing this in 20 seconds, when there's obviously just Queen C8 check, is inexcusable. I don't understand. In my opinion, this game could have been at least a draw. At least a draw, but this man, bruh, I can't explain it. It's inexcusable. This is inexcusable at the Olympiad. Like, for a 2000 rated player to blunder this in like with 38 minutes on the clock. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being too harsh on him, and that's fair. But man, like he had 38 minutes, man. You're 38 minutes, and you played this move in 20 seconds, blundering Queen C8 check and resigning shortly after. Like, I feel like I have a right to get mad here. Like, how do you exactly blunder this so fast? You're down a pawn, I get it. You want to win this, but this is the most obvious, like, straight up, like, fork you'll ever see. And you cannot play with, when you have 38 8 minutes, I'd recommend just taking a minute even if you're calculating nothing, man. Even if you're calculating nothing, don't play a move this fast, man. Oh my god, but in hindsight, whatever, he lost the game. And today, I think against Papua New Guinea, he was the only one who didn't win his game today. He ended up drawing today against this 1849, which I guess is a good result. It's nothing crazy, it's not spectacular by any standards, but he'll live, I suppose. It's nothing too bad. He's lost 12 ratings so far, just to be known. I think after this, he'll probably lose like maybe 15, 16 rating. No, probably not. I think he might lose like up to 20 rating. But Mundasar currently has lost 3.2. Then we move on to Amir Karim. Amir Karim is the only person I'd say this entire tournament that has actually performed above expectation and has actually gained rating this whole tournament. The only person I can confidently say has relied on. That's mainly due to this performance. He currently like beat. He didn't beat, but he drew. I think a 25-36 GM, which is our best performance by a country mile. Like by a country mile, like drawing Bulgaria, I think was our greatest achievement this whole tournament. He then beat this 1800 from Qatar, which I was really worried about, but he really made it look easy. He then like lost to this IM, which in a slightly competitive game, so I can't be too mad. He then beat like this 1800, which I think was our only real test of the whole Guatemala thing, but he ended up winning that game. And then like against this from South Africa, I'm just going to spoil it right now. In South Africa, we just lost every game. He ended up losing. It was a good fight, but he ended up losing. And today against this 1883, he ended up winning. So he'll probably end up gaining like 5 rating or something. So he's up to like I think around gain 10 rating this tournament. It's about as good as I could expect from him. And overall, just a good performance. About as well as you'd expect from Amir Karim. So titled player, playing to his level, well done. Now, Maafaz has been like the biggest downgrade this whole tournament. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. Because he's been playing well. It's just that my guy has gotten so unlucky. Just so unlucky, man. Like, look at his first pairing. A 2600 GM, which he literally held for like 30 plus moves. He held the game. He then lost to someone from Qatar, who did a 2340, and then played a 2300. Like, my guy's first 3 round pairings could not have been any harder. Like, if you tried to give him a harder pairing, you could not have done so. He then played this 1916 from Guatemala. Again, I could be entirely wrong. This could not be Guatemala at all. And if it isn't, I'm really sorry. But he ended up drawing that game. And yeah, I think after that game, his confidence was really shaken up. And after this, he like lost to the South African guy. In a game which, like, he was never winning. Like, he was just like slightly worse, and he was just trying to hold on in endgame. Almost like as if, you know, like those kids were like huddling down and just like, please God, please let it be defendable, please let it be defendable. That's what it seemed like. But today, thank God, we'll be analyzing today. He ended up winning his first game after so long. Thank the Holy Lord, we finally saw this guy win a game. It's against Papua New Guinea, I guess in 1920, but he gains 13 rating from this win, and it's a much needed win. It's a much needed win. I think after this win, he'll go up to, I think, almost maybe only 20 rating lost, and he'll have 1.5 points. So a much needed win, a win needed at this rate. So kudos to Maafaz. And what's incredibly funny is I'll literally show you right now. Maafaz actually did contact me. Like, I asked him very earlier on if I could make videos about this in the Olympiad, and he ended up sending me this message. So he, of course, he told me, yeah, go ahead. He's a really nice guy. Huge respect to him. He himself admitted, unfortunately, it's been rough for their team, in particular, first 5 rounds, and hopefully it'll change for the better. And I told him, you might get your next win next round, and my jinx came true, man. He won his first game, and Maafaz, if you're watching this video, keep it up, man. I think you've been doing great. You've been playing fighting chess, which is a lot more than some people, and keep it up, man. We're behind you, man. We've won your first game, and to be honest, like, you've just had a really unlucky draw. It's not really you've been playing badly. It's just your entire tournament has just been really unlucky. You've been playing 2400s the whole time. So, really unlucky start, but you got your first win. It can only go up from here, man. So, keep it up. And anyway, we'll be analyzing some of the games. But first, we also need to take a look at the women's side of things. So, how have the women been doing? And to be honest, the women have been doing pretty well. And today they have played Honduras, and I think, yeah, Honduras, and we drew today against them, which is a really surprising turn of events because Honduras is rated almost 20 rating above us, like 20 spots above us, but we still managed to draw them, which is a great achievement. And we look at Shiva Shah, she's had 2 points, and she has like beaten a 1600. Today she played against this women's FIDE master who just beat her, outclassed her in this game. Well played to her. To be honest, she's playing like a 16 1700, which is I think she's gonna get her rating at the age of 60 in the Olympiad, which is just insane. Like, overall, she's been playing really well. I can't really say too much. The only thing I'm saying is she can't spend time, but I just think like that's something she's not capable of. Maybe it's because of her condition. Like she plays on a wheelchair, so I'm not gonna mention it too much. But maybe she just can't spend time. Maybe that's the issue. So I'm not gonna berate her for that. She's been playing as well as I could expect from her. Zenobia Wasif today played, and she's been having a pretty crappy event to be very honest. Like losing most of her games, and yeah, she only like really won one game, but today finally she won her first game against Honduras from this 70-36. So she will be analyzing today. Very well played game, and she'll almost be moving down to I think 10 rating. Like she'll lose 2 rating to be honest, which is what's required right now. She needed this confidence, and she's got it. So good on her. Mia Gold also today grinded out in an end game. I think she's currently gaining rating almost. So this will be. So she lost to like this, like 2000 at first. Then she like drew from South Africa. A fighting game that was. I think that's one of her best games. Like drawing that. She then beat someone from Syria. She lost to Zimbabwe. And today she beat this 1600 from Honduras again. And Ayat Asmi, overall, like she's been playing fine to be honest. Like we don't really expect too much of her. She's like literally 1400, but she did manage a win against like a 1600, which is ridiculously impressive. Unfortunately, she couldn't do that today. She lost in a bit of a chaotic battle, but kudos to her. So without further ado, let's just check out the matches that were played in round 6. And first we'll be analyzing the women's wins, which this was a crazy game for Mihak. So Mihak today played the Karo Khan, and her opponent played knight c3, and very quickly we got this kind of setup with queen e3. And Mihak very quickly wanted to trade queens, but her opponent clearly wanted a fighting game. And essentially Mihak then just forcefully trades queens. And I don't really know why Mihak wanted to trade queens so badly. Like, I don't know why she thought this was a good idea. If I were her, I would be happy to keep queens on the board, but maybe she just liked her chances better in endgame. And I think personally a4 was a massive mistake. I know that the engine doesn't think so, but just forcing your king to move already is not really the best idea. And like she moves the king up to f3. Like this woman wants to play. Like Suhay really wants to play today, and so she played. So she obviously brought all her pieces, and it got into this very skirmish. And I think the thing that really won Mihak this game today, like you see, is time management. Like we see, Mihak currently has 36 minutes. Her opponent has 10, and as you'll see, it very slowly begins to grind out. And here she made an accuracy by taking, but to be honest, I don't really consider it an inaccuracy. I know the engine thinks it's an inaccuracy if rook takes, but to be very honest, like I don't know what even you're supposed to do. Like rook f8, like I don't really see the advantage. Like it's like the most obvious move I thought, which is rook f2 d4. Apparently, it isn't even that. It's this, and then how do you defend? You play b6. Okay, like I don't even really see the advantage, to be very honest. Like where is even the advantage? Like it's like a 3-on-2. To be very honest, at the 1600 level, this is probably a draw. But after c takes e5, and you'll notice her opponent gets down to 2 minutes, like 2 minutes and 19 seconds, and her opponent actually ends up making a fatal mistake, which Mihak does not capitalize on. King to e4, and here rook e4 check was the move that Mihak played, which is completely losing. Apparently h5 would have been winning. And personally, I can see, I know normally I say engine moves are just ridiculous, but here I can see the point of h5. The point of h5 is if you play something like g5, takes, and you just lose a pawn. And like, to be very honest, oh, I just teleported to the end. Oopsie doopsie. That is completely my fault. I'll just go all the way back. King to e4. And the thing is that if you like take, then you just have no substantial way to guard both weaknesses. And like, not to mention b4 is just straight up winning your like pawn, and like you'll be winning this pawn too. You can capture even before b4. You can even like take here, to be very honest. Yeah, see, it's still winning. So yeah, like the thing is, like essentially h5 would have been winning on the spot, and it's a move Mihak should have found, to be very honest. She should have spent more time here to try to find h5. But I can kind of understand, like, you kind of want to keep the pressure on the clock, so you play quickly, but it was a golden missed opportunity. And see, she finds h5 now after spending some time. But had she just found it here, like, it would have been game over. But Mihak continues to press, and finally her opponent plays rook back to d2. I guess her opponent, like, it's a very human move. To be honest, the position is very undefendable from White's perspective. Like, how are you, like, the pawn is hanging, there's pressure over here, and what the engine suggested was this. But, like, this, you worry about this, you know, like, it's very inhuman. And, like, here, there's this. Like, apparently now the engine is suggesting to take this pawn, and now rook d7. Like, from a human's perspective, like, yeah, see, like, the most natural move you want to play right now is maybe king b8, but, like, it's very unnatural to defend this. Like, it's hard, like, this a pawn might sneak through, so I can understand why, like, White felt the need to play rook d2 and just defend everything, but the problem is this just loses a pawn directly, like this. God, sorry. I'm a little sick right now. And to be honest, maybe White just thought her position was already lost right around here. Like, maybe after rook b5, White already thought her position was lost, but it is drawable after taking the pawn. But after this, Mihak does play the best move, and the rest of the game is just simply clean up. And I really like the way she does this. Like, obviously her opponent doesn't want to trade rooks, so Mihak forces the trade and just brings like all the pieces, and the pawn is going to become a queen. And sooner or later, Black just resigns and Mihak wins the game. Excuse me, I might be right back. Yeah, anyways, for the lack of disturbances, I'm really apologize for that. So, anyway, we'll be moving on to the next game. And the next game would be Zenobia Vasif. And to be honest, this was a win Zenobia needed for a very long time. Like, she was just not... She finally got to play someone her rating, and she absolutely delivered this game. So her opponent clearly showed up to fight. And I don't know what's with this c4 line. I have never seen this line before in the Sicilian. I might even start incorporating it, to be very honest. It seems like a line that works, and she got a very good position very early on with the move queen e1, which I know, like, from an engine perspective is saying it's losing, but I can really see the appeal of this, like bringing the queen over to the diagonal, attacking the king, and we actually see that later on what happens as she first takes here and moves the queen back. And you would think here that you know, like, Black would be comfortably better, but I wouldn't trust the eval so much at all here. And the reason I wouldn't trust the eval is particularly because that despite this seeming like a completely fine position, and Black is even like Black was now regained a pawn, and the engine is saying it's winning, but I personally wouldn't buy this so much just because of the pure attacking potential White has, and we get to see that almost immediately after Queen f7, because this just simply allows g5, and with g5 is allowed, then f5, and now this whole pyramid of pawns that, along with the bishop, and to be honest, just a few moves ago, this was -1, but just one wrong move, and now the avalanche is starting to be launched. And when you're forced to play moves like 98 to defend your pawn, it's clearly not looking good, and very quickly and very swiftly, like, she's forced to sacrifice her queen, and the attack very quickly marches on, and it's a clear and comfortable victory for Zenobia, and she managed her first win in this tournament. Huge congratulations to her. She absolutely deserves it. She absolutely outplayed her opponent this game. Her opponent had like one like line to save herself, and she did not find it. And kudos to her. Now we'll be looking at the men's game from round 6. And the only game I'll really be analyzing on the men's side, because it's the national champion who's finally struck again. Maafaz Khalid has finally won his game. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, and we get the same Berlin kind of line. But this time I could genuinely tell that Maafaz was feeling it today. Like, you could tell, like, his opponent was trying to get fancy with Bishop F3. Maafaz just castles right into it. No hesitation. His opponent grabs the pawn. Maafaz even trades queens, and here I was actually slightly worried. I was like, oh my god, Maafaz is going to go for a draw, man. He's going to go for some kind of draw. And it did look like that, but Maafaz, man. Maafaz is a master at making trouble for his opponents, and we get to see that in full effect as he marches the queenside pawns forward and doubles up the rooks. He might even consider trading, but not yet. Not yet. And his opponent, he is playing quickly, and he plays c3, and Maafaz immediately pounces Bishop c4. And I can't even really tell why this move is good. I personally would have played something else. Like, I personally would like try to target this pawn in some way. But I guess this is the best way to target that pawn. And now after g5, Maafaz, like, I don't really understand why his opponent didn't take. Like, I know, like, you're technically allowing, like, let's just say after king b8, rook d7, like, you're allowing all this, and like, you don't really want to. But to be very honest, I don't see what else you can do. Like, I just don't understand, like, sorry, this is the end of the game. But I honestly don't see what else you do after. I don't see what else if you don't take. And just playing rook e1 just. And here Maafaz had blundered with rook b2 d5. Apparently f5 was winning. Because after bishop d5, he just brings the king forward. And I don't know, to be very honest. Like, what's the line here? Rook d4. And does the engine want him to sack? Like, let's say rook e8 is played. Oh, he can't even play that rook. So that would just lead to a square. So what if rook a to d8 then? Then just f5 would win the bishop. Okay, so he can't bring any piece over to the line of sight. So what if he just goes back? Then they're essentially getting access. Oh, I see. So essentially, this would have been winning if he had found f5 just because of this whole bishop maneuver. But, well, his opponent essentially does it anyway for him. And to be fair, it wasn't really an easy position. He'd have to take again, and I just already discussed why that's not really a position you want to get into. Especially, like, I just addressed this, like, rook f8, rook f1, oh sorry, not rook f1 this time, that would hang a rook. So this, and then bishop f1, like, we already discussed why this position is just not very pleasant for white. So I can understand why his opponent didn't want to do this, but this just leads to a further disintegration of his position. He tries to lash out with h4 as some kind of Hail Mary attempt, but Maafaz cold-blooded, doesn't even take. Because if you take, you might, allow some things. And yeah, exactly. See, this was his last trick. Bishop takes, and with two isolated pawns, his opponent will actually be able to secure the draw here. Very nice concept, to be honest, by his opponent. Something that everyone from this video can learn from, but Maafaz isn't that, and he just takes on his own terms, and his opponent really just sacrifices because there's no other move. His opponent's bishop is essentially trapped, so once Maafaz gets the bishop there, and bishop d3, his opponent resigns, and the national champion gets his first win. And it's a huge relief. It's a huge relief. Maafaz is finally able, even if it's not someone higher rated, it's at least someone. He at least gets a point. And now, I think Pakistan won this whole match 3.5 to half, so we'll be seeing who they're playing in round 6. I don't think the results have been revealed yet. Let me just confirm once again if the results have been revealed. No, round 7 has not shown up. I think from the open section. I don't think they've shown up, no. So, We don't really know who Pakistan will be playing yet, but I think it will be some really strong players. Maybe some title players, maybe some like 21, 2200s. And this was 100% required. We need to bounce back, and hopefully in this next round, like I guess 21, 2200s, we can secure an upset. Because so far this tournament is going as expected. It would be nice, to beat some high rated players for a change. Like in round one, where Amir Karim drew that FM, maybe drew that GM. So maybe it would be nice if Maafaz and the rest of the gang could take inspiration and try to win an unlikely matchup. So that's all for now. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.